All right. Hello and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP Online Sales Magazine and Coavera, formerly Pipeliner CRM, joining you from sunny San Diego. And today I'm joined by Ilana Golan, who is up in sunny Silicon Valley. How are you doing, Ilana?
It is pretty sunny. It's great to be here, John.
Excellent, excellent. And you are the CEO and founder of Leap Academy, one of America's fastest growing companies, and host of Leap Academy with Ilana Golan podcast, and a former F-16 flight instructor and the first female commander in her Israeli Air Force squadron. She became Intel's youngest hire at the time, rose to vice president in Silicon Valley, and contributed to a 300 million exit. And now you built the Leap Academy to help professionals create portfolio, career, combat ageism. People of our vintage certainly appreciate that and thrive in the future of work. Okay. So let's start off, Ilana. So what was when you went from being an F-16 flight instructor and the first female commander in your squadron, and then you became one of the youngest hires at Intel. Uh, what was the kind of mind shift that you had to make going? And what was the transition like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say, can you introduce me always? Like this is this is cool. Uh, well, I would say I think where I came from, it was a little more normal because we have compulsory military service. So I kind of
Yeah.
knew that I'm going to the military and then I gonna do something. I thought I gonna be a doctor, if I'm
Mhm.
being really honest, but
Ah,
I fell in love with technology in the military, and I realized that with technology, I get to help people defend the country, come home safe. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I want to learn more about it. Computers then, I'm aging myself, look like a big fridge. So
yep.
so I was like, take me to the fridge. Let's learn how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember those days too. I still remember. I'll get, I don't mind dating myself. I remember working one of my first jobs when you had to write out your letters in with a pen and hand them to the only typist in the office.
Oh yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, but when I describe that, I know my son is 21 now. He's like, I don't even
What are you
understand
talking
that.
about? Dinosaur?
Exactly, exactly. You talk about a rock bottom moment, right? When your business partner pushed you out, right after a raise of 800K, whatever.
Yeah.
What did that experience teach you about ego, resilience, identity, all of those things? Because it must have been an extremely profound moment for you.
It is profound. So if I'm going a little bit to my story, I think
Hmm.
you kind of alluded to it, right? Like I
Yeah.
ticked a lot of boxes of success, if you will.
Hmm.
And first of all, that does come with a little bit of ego. I
Hmm.
admit, we'll talk about it, right? But also maybe a little bit of naive, like it's all going to be easy for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
And but the truth is I did work really, really hard. I was always a very hard worker. As vice president at that point, I was flying all the time. I
Hmm.
literally lost the first 5 years of my kid's life. And so when a friend of mine came to me saying, hey, let's start a company together, I knew him for about 2 decades, and I thought that was the best idea I heard all year
Hmm.
long or 5 years long. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so fun. And so we worked on this startup day and night, weekends, whatever we could. And I live in Silicon Valley, like Steve Jobs garage is right around this fence.
Hmm.
And, so we did the Silicon Valley thing. We went to raise capital, and even that went well. And I still remember, looking at the term sheet, they were valuating a little baby at $5 million. I was like, oh my God, how is that cool? And so doing the goodbye party from my VP role, I wanted to make sure people don't follow me or don't freak out that I'm
Sure.
leaving. Like, why am I leaving, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. So I told everybody about the company, about the money we raised, about how excited I was. And within, John, amazing 24 hours, it was exactly the same day. My co-founder decided to take the money, throw me out of the business, and I was left essentially with nothing. And again, it's like no job, no salary, no startup, no investment. And I think the biggest thing, John, which was very profound for me, and I wonder who, who else can resonate with this from the listeners. My entire identity was always attached to the company, to the
Yeah.
money that the company that I'm in. I never built myself on the journey. It didn't even cross my mind that I need to.
Mm,
And to make it even worse, like, for the first time in my life, I had no clue where I wanted to go. Like, everything was so scripted in my life, and suddenly, I didn't even know if I'm looking for a job, I'm starting a business, or honestly looking for revenge, which did
mhm.
cross my mind, right? So, it's like suddenly you're in this like, who am I? And how
Mm,
do I, what happened to Ilana? And the truth is the downward spiral. So speaking of ego, especially when you've been somewhat on this horse of
yeah.
success, like the fall down is like, it was big. It was the downhill spiral. I think it's really interesting how we forget everything good that we achieved in our life, and we remember only how
Yeah.
bad we are. I'm such a loser. How did I become such a loser? I'm such a failure. Like, it is profound, like how bad we can treat ourselves.
Mhm.
And I mean, it took a toll on my health, on my relationship. I was snappy at my kids. I couldn't sleep at night. I was a mess, John. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And at that point, because you're so correct, I think we're so good at. I had this experience recently actually with a friend of mine, and they wanted to do a new resume and get out there and stuff, and they said, but I've never really achieved anything, and I've never, I don't really have that great track record. And I said, well, let's examine that for a moment, right? And I said, and I brought up experiences like yours, things that they'd gone through, like profound, like tough parts of your life. And I said, you survived it and you moved on, you made a step forward. I said, you got to start looking at those and realizing what you've actually achieved, because achievement isn't just measured in like, yeah, in this job or this or that. It's measured in your human experience. I mean, that, because at the end of the day, that's really what the skills and stuff. But we really do at the end of the day hire or trust or do business with people who are fully rounded human beings.
Right. And again, you want to work with another human you like. And the
Yeah.
truth is, the more real they are, the more,
Yeah.
that you more relate to it. Now, again, you don't want somebody living in the victim mentality
Sure, sure.
world. You don't want a victim. But we all get have moments do and believe, um, the big, like, it's always darkest before that's my,
Yeah.
um,
No,
yeah.
no, absolutely, and I think that's exactly right. And so, tell me, what exactly is the concept of a portfolio career?
Yeah, it's such a good one. So I think this is where the careers in 2026 and beyond will look very differently than the careers that we
Mhm.
used to have. So that I'm very,
Sure.
very certain of. And in fact, it's pretty clear that careers will be multiple ventures and opportunities that people will have. And so if you think about it, basically portfolio career is multiple streams of income, ventures, experiments, etc. Now, some of them are for income. Like, we will see there's a lot of ways to make income these days, right? So some of
Yeah.
them are definitely for coaching, consulting, fractional, advisory, board seats, like, speaking. I can go on and on,
Mhm.
but some of them are really more of gap builders, right? Like, so for example, if you're trying to, I don't know, climb to the C suite of a corporate, but you've never done anything around like C suite, then maybe you can mentor startup accelerators. Maybe you could advise some companies. Right? So you can start doing some things that, first of all, teach you how founders think, teach you
Mhm.
how CEOs think, and also start presenting you and building that authority as somebody that can sit with CEOs and move the needle on the company. So it could be a great gap filler, if you will, that teaches you a lot and also builds a brand. So yeah, so we will see a lot of people doing multiple things, and I think what's beautiful is then if you just throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks, then nothing really sticks and you just
Mhm.
stay broke. But if you actually do it with a lot of intention and very strategic about it, it can actually create incredible snowball effect, and one will feed off each other. And it's, yeah, that's where it's amazing, right? If somebody wants to be seen as whatever, a top sales producer, whatever, right? Like
Mhm.
if they can also, I don't know, advise some founders and work with venture capitalists and,
Yeah.
do some venture, like there's so many things that you can do. Um, and they all feed off each other, and you're presented more, you have more authority, you can, charge more, you can, like, it creates this omega flywheel. So yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, this we live in a world today where it lends itself to that. You can do multiple things. You can, and and I think because of the way the world has gone, is people will pay for insight
Yeah.
because let's face it, everybody wants to get to where they're going as quickly as possible. So if you've got insights or things that can help them, they will pay for that.
I think you're absolutely right. People don't pay for information anymore. That
Mhm.
is so free for a
Yeah.
while now, and with AI, it's even more. But
Hmm.
people will pay for the shortcut or the transformation. And if you can create that transformation, or if you have a way to shortcut the cycle, that's what people pay for. And that to me is the most profound thing. But also, I think we do or we are living in a world where everybody will become their own economy. And the corporate ladder is
Hmm.
burning, whether we like it or not. If you want a job, that's
Hmm.
amazing, but please don't let your entire identity be attached to this one title. Always kind of become your own economy, know how to package yourself, how to sell yourself, because your expertise actually has a dollar sign on it. So the question is, how do you package it? How do you sell it? That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a great point because I think, did you know, similar to you, I mean, growing up in business wise in corporate America, after I came over to Silicon Valley, everything has been tied around your title and the company and all of that, and really at the end of the day, like the titles, it's really it's kind of meaningless at the end of the day, and it's really about what the experiences, what you can do and all of that. And if you're too tied up in that title or that position, I think it constrains your growth.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um,
Mm.
I mean, again, I think one of the things that we hear the most, and probably the biggest thing for me was, yes, of course, I eventually I need to fall down, really understand this, John, that if I would have been a lot more intentional, strategic with my career, with my brand, I was
Mhm.
almost sleepwalking through life. Everything was comfortable. I was doing the work. I
Mhm.
was putting my head down. I was really good at what I did. And I never stopped to think, is this really what I need to do for the rest of my life? Like I was
Mhm.
all busy doing, I don't know, cloud data center, whatever. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it
Mhm.
was a great career. It was
Yeah.
just the wrong career for me. And I think I never even stopped to think part of this path, that it was just the wrong path for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, and then the thing about experience, right? And this is where the kind of ageism thing comes in a little bit now as well. I was in Korea last week. My son's there for a time. He's doing a semester in university there,
Oh, wow.
and in those cultures like Korea, like it's very, you really respect the seniors. The oldest
Oh,
people are
yeah.
respected for their wisdom and all of that. we,
Oh,
we
yeah.
we're a little bit different, right? Unfortunately, here where it's like, oh, well, what do you know? You're too old. But so how do you counteract that? Because we have all these people going around who've got these tremendous experiences, who who straddled, huge. I mean,
Right.
coming from pre-internet days and pre-computer days to here, I mean, that's straddling such a dramatic change in the world and everything. There's so much to be gained, but people often overlook it, and then they start to impose that on themselves. They think, well, nobody's going to be interested in me because I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the truth is, whether we like it or not, mid to late stage career, like everybody talks about the early careers, and
Hmm.
they definitely got a hit.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about the mid to late stage career that are right now being displaced by AI.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, I mean, I just came back from Washington, D.C., the World Economic Forum. The numbers are staggering, John. Like they're right now naming 92 million jobs that will be displaced in 2 years.
Mm.
Like, it is insane, and I think the only argument that I saw is whether it's gonna be 300 million after that or 600 million after that. Like, it is staggering numbers. So, we're gonna see hundreds of millions of people that need to reinvent themselves. Just teaching them how to write a resume is not gonna cut it. Like,
Mhm.
that's not, if certain corporations are letting go of certain roles, you just fixing your resume is not going to help. You need to completely reinvent how you tell your story. What roles are you even aiming for? And maybe just create your own economy and your own portfolio. And I think this is where we're going now. I think one of the things that unfortunately a lot of the people in my generation, in our generation,
Mhm.
have done is that we didn't even realize in 2007 we all became a media company. So whether we like
Mm.
it or not, if people don't hear from us, the assumption is that we don't have anything to say. Now,
Yeah.
the good news is that it's the most incredible time to control the narrative.
Yeah.
But if we don't do it now, like especially in the era where everybody's average, like it's so easy to be average right now. If you're not even average because of AI, you really don't, you lost relevance. But if everybody's average, how do you rise above the noise? And the
Mhm.
only way to do it is through some authority. And our generation never built it. So suddenly we're surprised that opportunities don't come our way and that people don't bring opportunities to us and that we're not known for what we wanted to be known for. And yeah, we never told a story. So the good news is that it's easy to fix, right? If you just
Yeah.
learn how to package yourself as a category one, you learn how to open doors, you learn how to build authority, that's it. You're in the hidden market and suddenly opportunities come your way. And now you can leap again, 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 which is the most important skill right now in the future of work. But it's nobody teaches that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's such a great point because if you think about it, we grew up in a time when you didn't create your brand or whatever. It's brands were that was somebody from the outside said, "Oh, this person is great, so we're going to build them up or whatever." And then so we've had to learn that part about, and I think, the part about building your brand, and etc., and investing in yourself and that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, as you said, in their mid to late stage of their
I
career.
know,
They feel weird about it. They don't, the younger people could care less. They're building their brands all the time. But,
right.
our generation feel a bit weird.
I know. I mean, I don't I mean, I went to school. I had in my uniform, it said stay humble. Like
Mm,
that it was my uniform. That's how I walked every single day. This is like the
right.
worst, idea on the planet, but that's how I grew up, right? So
Mhm.
not only that you didn't learn to build a brand, you almost learned that no, 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 you don't need to build a brand. You need to just work hard and opportunities will fall on your lap. Well,
Mm.
wake up everybody. No, they don't. And especially for mid to late stage career, especially when it's crowded, opportunities don't fall in your lap. Now, the good news is that if you become intentional and strategic, you can create your own luck. And it's
Mm.
beautiful. And there's so many options on the menu. And that's true freedom, right? To decide what you say yes to, what you say no to. So there are options, but somehow, I don't think that Leap Academy should be the only entity to teach that. Like I think it should be taught in schools. So I
Yeah.
think this is where I have a discrepancy with our entire, we're trying to disrupt the whole, education system because I think this should be something that is taught everywhere. It's not just for the people that want to join. It should be in schools and colleges. Like you need to learn how to adapt, and that's becoming one of the most important skills for the future of work.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, that's the good news. The good news for people of our generation is that we have that innate ability because we have adapted to so many changes.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
adapted from to cell phones, to computers, to the internet, to all of this. I mean, we've adapted to that. I mean, you remember back in the old days, like when you went on a trip, you were basically MIA. I mean, there was
Oh,
no
yeah.
communication, right?
Yeah. And if not, then
And
you were standing in line with these cards or coins or whatever.
exactly, exactly. Or trying to get your parents to accept a collect call from Spain or something, and they're like, "No, no."
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great. So, what would your message be to somebody who feels maybe they're in their maybe their mid to late stage, they feel stuck, they feel maybe a little bit nervous, they're looking at this AI Armageddon and they're thinking like, is it coming from me? What would be your advice? What would be the next best thing they could do?
It's such a good question. And I think one of the biggest things, so first of all, I'll say the entire factors of success have changed. Like, I want to make
Mhm.
sure everybody's aware of it. So, it used to be all about IQ when we did
Mhm.
like IQ tests, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's changed a few decades ago to EQ, emotional
Mhm.
intelligence. And that
Yeah.
became even more important than IQ. And if people will check right now, it's all about AQ, adaptability quotient. So,
Mm.
your ability to adapt, reinvent, leap, etc., just became the most important skill for the future of work. So first of all, just knowing that this is important, right? The other thing is, the good news is that it's not that hard to reinvent yourself. And it's all about figuring out what's next. How do I tell my story? How do I package myself? How do I open doors? How do I brand myself? Like, it's actually 4 steps. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's 4 simple steps. And the good news that there's organizations, people, whatever, that can help you do this. But all you need to do is understand that it's just, if you start thinking and being a lot more intentional, strategic, and what I call always be leap ready. So even if you are happy in your place, amazing, but grow your brand, grow something, like grow the people around you, grow your ambassadors so that
Mhm.
you are brought into more opportunities, so that you have the freedom to choose. Because I think at the end of the day, for me, freedom is not necessarily slurping mojitos on the beach all day. Could be
Mhm.
fun, but I'm just saying, for me, it would also drive me nuts. But it's the freedom to choose, and if you can create that freedom for yourself, that to me is the biggest gift that you can give to yourself or to everybody around you. And that's freedom to work from anywhere. It's a freedom to decide when you want to push and when you don't want to push. It's decide when you want to work harder or not. So always be leap ready, get intentional, strategic. And again, like, if somebody can help you shorten the cycle, go at it, whatever that cycle is for you.
Yeah, yeah, and just to finish on that note, but yeah, to those people who are in this generation and that who are worried, remember, you're a leaper by you proved that you're a leaper already. You just haven't maybe recognized that you've leapt over a lot of change.
I love that, and we actually call our people leapers. So
Oh, you do.
you're actually right. I think the only difference that I will say is it's moving at a pace we've never seen before.
That's true.
And the
Mhm.
bad news is that it's never gonna be as slow as this. So it's only getting even faster. And so you're gonna need to build almost like a muscle to
Yeah.
learn how to reinvent really, really quick, and how to
Mhm.
experiment with a lot of different things, how to learn as fast as possible. And I'll say, in the era of AI, which is something I think we have not learned well in school, in the era of AI, when you can execute so fast, your decision making is the only bottleneck.
Yeah.
Because, right, if the execution is really, really fast, if you don't know how to execute fast enough, you're the bottleneck.
Mm,
Now, so first of all, our ability to make faster decisions is actually really hurting us if we don't build that muscle.
yeah.
And it's almost opposite from school, because in school, we learn that we need to learn a lot and then get an A, right? And if we
Yeah.
don't, that's a problem. And here we're almost like, by definition, you want to make as many F's as possible,
Mm,
right? Like,
yeah.
experiment, right? You want to fail as many possible. So we're wired differently, but it is possible. So go get it and create an
Yeah.
incredible life.
Yeah, and be comfortable with making quick decisions, and be comfortable with not having all the information.
Right. You're never going to have all the
You're
information.
never
So
gonna have
you're
it.
just going to start making decisions from the maybe,
Yeah,
and from hope and dream versus fear and doubt. And if you can
absolutely.
start doing that, it's everything changes.
Perfect. Well, listen, thanks so much, Ilana. All of Ilana's information will be below this video. But before we go, please do remind people about the Leap Academy.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, we have free challenges and free 3-day training. So we would love to, John, to give you guys an invitation and have a
Right.
special link for you guys. If somebody wants to come in, I would love to see you. It's free, so just come, and I promise that you're going to see your career in a whole different level. And yeah, and after that, it's like we basically brought the whole concept of startup accelerators to the world of careers. Nobody else is
Mhm.
doing that, and a startup accelerator has the most profound change of
Yeah.
individuals that are driven and makes them into a CEO of a multi-million dollar company in a few weeks. So we do the same thing in career, whether you're looking for a job or you want to build your own revenue generating business or create portfolio careers. So just check it out, leapacademy.com, or reach out for me on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, YouTube, whatever you want, and binge through the podcast. You're going to love it. It speaks to the biggest leaders of our time about their career. And it's called Leap Academy with Ilana Golan podcast. And I get to speak with the Richard Branson and president of
Mhm.
Starbucks and founders of Airbnb and Wikipedia, etc., just to learn from them what were the most challenging situations for them and how did they recover. So it's an incredible place to learn decision making and adaptability. So
Fantastic. Well, listen, thanks again, Ilana. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.